after weeks of strikes and protests in Haiti, workers will finally see their minimum wage increase. In some sectors, factory workers will see their pay go up as much as 54%.
Wow.
But in the competitive garment industry, workers will only receive about $7.50 a day, even with the minimum wage hike.
Wow.
According to CNN, workers have been frustrated for years because their wages cannot keep up with the inflation and the ever-changing cost of living. So ladies, what are your thoughts on this minimum wage hike?
You know, Haiti was once the wealthiest colony in the Americas, and then, they're having a really hard time. And I know for you, Garcelle, this is probably because, you being from Haiti,
Yeah.
it really is something that's close to home. Having to deal with that, like growing up as a girl, could you see what was happening with the island as far as when it came to wages and stuff?
Well, growing up, I was too young to know, but I loved my island. I loved being there. I loved going. We lived in Port-au-Prince, but we would go to St. Mark, where I was born, to visit my grandmother, and she had a store. So to me, it didn't seem like we were poor until I got older and realized. But you have to understand, I feel like there's so many steps that need to help Haiti. Infrastructure, the politics of Haiti, that this is a step in the right direction, but there is so much more to go on. $1 US dollar is about $1.04 good. Good is what we consider our dollars. And it's not a lot. But people, just stretch it and try to do as much as they can. So I'm happy this is moving in the right direction, but there's so much more to do.
There's a group of U.S. members of Congress in November that said that they were asking the heads of 62 American companies that import garments from Haiti for information on protections in place for workers. This is the things that we have to do. Like, to be good global citizens, we have to get our Congress and members of our Congress, like if we're doing business with certain countries, we have to enforce certain things and say, hey, and so this is a step in the right direction.
That's right.
Making people accountable. So I think that this is a great thing. And I just, my heart goes out.
Yeah, can we give it up to the garment workers?
Yeah.
Who stood up for themselves and got up. That is not easy.
After protests, days, weeks of protests.
And I think that's partially why they got what they asked for. And it's not over yet. Like you said, there's still so much more to go, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. And I'm so proud of them speaking out and standing up for themselves. We need change, for sure.
Definitely.
Up next, singer Willow Smith is facing backlash online for her upcoming fantasy novel, Black Shield Maiden. While the book is not due out until October, an excerpt from the novel has raised questions within the Muslim community. As reported by the Jasmine brand, Willow is being accused of misrepresenting Muslims in her novel by allegedly describing them as, quote, dangerous and even savages. Willow's co-author, Jess Hendel, has defended the writing and says the point of the book is to touch on topics and biases that affect Islamic people. So ladies, what do you think about this backlash that Willow's receiving?
I think you have to be careful nowadays. I think you have to research. You have to have a team that will research for you if you don't have the time. And it's unfortunate because it's great that she's writing a novel. It's great that she's doing this. But at the same time, you have to be careful what you call someone. And you have to be respectful of their culture if you're writing about them.
Yeah, especially because she's writing with somebody. I think it's important that we both have a clear understanding of like, where are we going with this topic? I also understand that we haven't seen this book in its entirety. So we don't actually, this can be completely misplaced. Is this a racist, terrible person saying these comments? You know what I mean?
It's just hard talking about other people's culture.
If it's not yours.
Yeah, and that's the issue. The book follows a young African warrior who was stolen from her home and brought to the world of Vikings, where she meets a princess. So, I mean, it's a fantasy book.
Right.
But I agree with you, Adrienne. When you're taking excerpts, you have to be careful. Because the purpose of the excerpts, in that this may be what it is that it is to get attention.
Right.
So that's exactly.
She got our attention. And
Yeah.
got the attention of the Muslim community. The issue is, again, we don't know the context of this excerpt?
Well, the co-author, Jess Hindle, she had a response. She said she offered some clarification about the excerpt, stating that the novel's goal is to touch on topics such as the long misrepresentation of, the Amazigns?
Yeah,
And the other Islamic people, and to open readers' eyes to the issues. But that is what upset people. So what they were trying to do was actually open up everybody's eyes.
But in cancel culture
I mean, just
now,
imagine us reading
this could
something
go-
about, people of color, African Americans, and saying they're savages.
Yeah.
They're this and that. And that's all you saw in that excerpt.
You'd be upset.
You'd be upset and offended.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's rightfully so. So and
This is just hard in cancel culture time.
It really is. It really is.
Well, some people, some of the backlash was that they stated that the use of the language in the text had colonist tones. And they said, why do we have to get portrayed yet again as savages? So this is the type of,
That's
this is the
unfair.
concern that the people
Stereotyping.
had.
It's unfair.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens as it
will
comes
be,
out,
yeah.